Evening, folks. Thanks for coming in. Hope you're all safe and well, and welcome to a little chat with, I forgot their name, Haunted Scotland. We're not alone. Sorry, guys.
That's a good start, aye.
Single life.
Haunted Scotland, we are not alone. We've been out with them a couple of times last week, and so we thought it was time we brought them in here and had a wee chinwag with them, a wee laid back bit of a chat. Can't believe I forgot the bloody name. Sorry, guys. So we got Robbie and we've got Steve. Robbie's the gaffer, so I'll let them tell you who they are and what they do, basically. Whoever wants to go first, Caps.
Right. Robbie. Hi, guys. Right, I'm Robbie, head of Haunted Scotland, We Are Not Alone. I've been an investigator now for 36 years, and I've been an empath for as long as I can remember, so I can sense spirits run about me, communicate with them, and I can feel other people's emotions as well. So it's a bit of murder trying to shut it off if you're out and about and everybody's thinking about the same things at the same time. That's quite good because you can get into people's heads and start blackmailing them if they'll get dodgy thoughts, which is quite good as well. So just don't have a dodgy thought when you're on about me.
I need to remember that one then.
Aye.
No, I get dodgy thoughts, you know what I mean?
Aye.
So what we do is we tour around all over the place, castles, woods, graveyards, and sometimes as well people will contact us if they've got a property or premises that may have activity in it. So I'll go into that and do an investigation. Then if needs be, I'll move the spirits on, or if the spirits are just there because they've got a right to be there, I'll just let them be because they've got as much right to be there as the living. So it's been 36 years, might seem a long time, but it's flown by in a blink of an eye. And I've had some really good experiences and I've met loads of different people through it, such as yourselves. But for a long time, I did stay under the radar. Nobody knew about my group. I had like teams through the 36 years. And only recently, like my son, who just joined the team, he pestered me to join Facebook and start a Facebook page. So that was about just over a year ago, I think now. And we've got something like 1,200 members in the group. And they log in and watch the lives each week. So
what go you into the paranormal to start with?
As I said, I'm an empath. Ever since I was a child, I've always sensed things around about us. But, like, see how, for instance, most kids have got imaginary friends? Well, 9 times out of 10, they're not imaginary. Every child has got the ability to sense, just as, like, other animals can sense. And so it's not when you get to maybe 10, 11, 12, you've got a choice, either keep your ability or ditch it, and a lot of people end up ditching it because of peer pressure. Parents tell them to grow up, they're wanting to go with their pals, so they're wanting to act normal, that kind of thing, so eventually they lose their abilities. But with me, my parents didn't bother, and when I was 13-year-old, we all had an event that was all witnessed, and that's when I realised what I had wasn't imaginary, it was actually real. Then the day later, one of the neighbours' kids came up and asked, could they see somebody who'd passed away, and that's who we seen. But they didn't know at the time they'd passed away, and we had to explain to them. So that confirmed what I was, like, I had abilities, but at that time I didn't really understand. So I started training myself, went to local libraries, got books on everything I could get to. Because I'm Scottish, I don't like buying anything, so I just went to the library and got it for nothing. And so then I started watching different documentaries I could get my hands on as well. Read up in case files like the Amityville, anything, like any of the Warren kind of case files. Then like case files that happened in England as well, in Scotland. Then Facebook kicked in maybe 10 years ago now, and there was like there wasn't much, but there was some, so I used to just ghost them and watch what they've done as well, because the paranormal world doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. You can be doing it for a year, 50 years, or 100 years. You're still not going to learn everything. And if every paranormal investigator was to get their knowledge and combine it, it still wouldn't be enough to know everything. So it's still a learning curve, and I'm still on the learning process.
No, you're totally right. I mean, you say you went to libraries, and that's exactly what I've done as well. I went to libraries and I watched, horror films and read all different kind of books and documentaries and stuff, and that's how I learned about the paranormal. And as you say, nobody's ever an expert. You might have more experience than the next guy.
You're never going to be an expert. Plus, there's some things that guy that's inexperienced might do, but you thought, oh, I'm going to try and do that. So that's why I'm always, like, for instance, Steve's new to the team. You've only been, 3-4 weeks now? 4 weeks. I'm watching him, seeing what he's doing, and I'm picking up things what he's doing. Then he's doing the same with me. He's watching what I'm doing and kind of picking up wee bits and bobs. So and I always love the fact where some teams are open to working with others, and I put an open invite to any team out there. I'm saying, if you want to come with us out in the night, you're more than welcome to join us and team up, just like what I done with yous last Wednesday. Was it Dunur Castle, in it? That's where we first met, and we done an investigation together. So I've always been open about working with other teams. I know there is some teams out there, I won't say names, but they're a first letter of the alphabet with the word hole at the end of it. Like, where they like to take charge of everything. They think they're better than everybody else, kind of thing. And there's always one team where it's only the team leader that does everything and wants to be the centre of attention. I don't like that. I want everybody in my team to have an equal shot. So I'll open the investigation up. I might do the first experiment, but then what I'll do is I'll say to the people, like the team members, right, your turn. You take a shot and each member does their own experiment, then we assist them just as much as they assist me. It's quite fun before we go live, because what I'll say to them is, right, there's a tech, fight at it, and you see them scrambling to see who gets what.
Hell, you dig in, help yourself. Just before I come to you, Steve, I'm just going to say hello to the folk in chat. We get Tracy, Lindsay, Alex, Alison, Kelly, Laura, and Joan. So evening, folks, and Lisa as well. And Kelly's made a valuable point once it comes up. There is there. Don't think most kids realise the ability that most. To live with it, I had it for years as a kid, and I learned fast. You can't train an empath. Each of us is different. But that's true. Everybody is, different.
Well, people say ask if I'm like an empath, which I've always said I prefer using the word empath. But other people say, are you a medium? I mean, I'll just say no, I'm an extra large, because it's been a while since I've been a medium.
Some people call me a medium in the past, early years, but I pick up on stuff sometimes. No, all the time. It's totally random. It can be weeks apart. And I say, I'm in no way a medium. Or
you do need to train your abilities to get it to work, and if it goes on, it took me years to control it properly. And I think I was in my early 30s before I was confident enough to say I knew I can fully control it. And I started, as I said, I was 13 when I first started reading up on these things, and I was 15 before I went out my first investigation. So that was basically my first kind of team. And so probably the best part of 15, maybe 20 years before I could confidently say I was in full control of my abilities. I might not understand how I can do it. I might not understand why I can do it. I just know I can do it.
That's I've been asked as well, you know, how it's like years and years ago, before mobile phones were invented, you know, using the landline, and, you know, the landline would go and I would say to my first wife, that's your mum, or that's your sister. And I was right all the time, and she used to say, how do you know who's phoning you? I said, I don't know. I just know that's your mum on the phone. And I could never explain it, you know, I used to ask myself, you know, how do I know that? But it just kind of...
Well, the normal excuse my mum used to say, oh, I know the ring. It's a phone, it's the same ring.
Aye, that's your mother's ring. I heard that one before, I know. That's your mum's ring. You know? Which is where we you, Steve? How did you get into the whole paranormal thing?
I listened to stories my granddad used to tell me. They used to go on holiday with his brothers to the Isle of Man, and they used to tell me about this hotel they used to stay in. And that's I kind of picked up stories for him. I was the kind of weird kid. I was always interested in I didn't want to play football or anything like that. I just wanted to read kind of ghost stories and jump about in the dark and stuff. But it was probably in my later years, and as much as I hate admitting it, was Most Wanted that actually got me into ghost hunting.
There was only one reason I watched Most Haunted, and it wasn't for the ghosts.
Well, it was, as much as I hate to admit, that was about my kind of generation growing up. So I kind of watched that, and then I realised it was bullshit, and then I kind of left it for a while. And then I had an experience in Edinburgh Vaults, and my curiosity got the better of me for there. And then it was like 10 years after that, I actually went on my first investigation. I think that was about 7 or 8 years ago, and it was Edinburgh Vaults. And I've just stuck to it ever since. I don't have any abilities as such. I'm more a kind of tech-minded guy. I'm as sensitive as a brick. That's usually the running joke with me. I'm not an empath. I'm not a medium. I've got nothing like that. I just tech guy and try and be the comedian usually, but I usually feel like that as well.
I like it when you kind of chose your word there because you were just about to say something else.
I see.
You went PG all of a sudden.
I'm not a tech guy either. When it comes to tech, the laser pen and the cat balls, that's my limit.
Aye.
You know what I mean? That's me. Sarah names all this fancy stuff, and it just whoosh, it's gone. You know, I just nod.
You're
The
getting there.
PSV7's my usual weapon of choice. That and EVPs. That's my kind of speciality area.
Well, the tech I've got, it was my son. It went, oh, you need to buy this, you need to buy that, you need to buy the next thing. And now because we're starting to get used to this team, and each of the group have got their own wee favourite toy that they play with. So, there's a running joke where one of the team members will go to shake her upside down to make sure she doesn't get in with my SLS camera.
I'm not going to ask you to say who it is. I've got a comment here I'm going to put up and a question and all for you guys. That's why is my computer so slow?
I don't know.
In fact, you're picking up on things can be down in factor of the amount of years you've investigated. Our bodies help us identify the vibes around us, and as such we hone in on our senses. Listen to your body. It is your best tool, but unfortunately won't provide the evidence you need. Diagnomic. All right, guy. Kelly's right there. I mean, we've done a lot of lives and we've asked people, you know, what's your favourite piece of kit? And the amount of people who's turn around and say to us that, you know, you can't beat your own senses, basically.
Eyes, ears, nose, but you've also got an inner eye and an inner ear. So basically, you can hear and see things with your normal eyes and normal ears can't pick up. That's the tool I use to go for the best.
Here, Lisa's got a question. Please, you don't want it to be.
You can shut it down. You can learn how to basically shut your abilities down when you don't want to use them. Then you can open them back up when you do want to use them. Basically ground yourself. Because if you don't ground yourself, then it does become overwhelming.
Steve, we were at the Newcastle last week, And you done something I'd never seen done before in an investigation. When you dared the spirit. You challenged the spirit, basically. You want to tell us a wee bit about that, or why you done it, or?
Again, it's a long-running joke about having a set of brass balls. I'm kind of... Sometimes if there's a negative spirit, I don't... You can sit in the dark and do all this. Oh, can you make a noise, please? Can you do this? Can you do this? We're coming up more suspect, right? But it's... Spirits, I believe, are the same as humans. Some of them are nice, some of them are not nice. So the no nice ones are not going to listen to you. Go, can you make a noise, please? Can you talk into this? It's like, no, you've got to actually be more aggressive towards it. Don't get me wrong, a lot of people not necessarily agree with that method, but I kind of like it sometimes. It gets me quite... Lindsay's witnessed my full-on stupidity by challenging spirit, but sometimes it helps. But sometimes, I mean...
Well, I agree with Steve. You've got to intimidate to get a reaction. Sometimes, I do it myself. I've done it on more than one occasion. You've got to, the only way you can get them to talk to you is to basically piss them off.
Have you ever intimidated and something's followed you home?
Aye.
Me? No. I ground them.
Robbie.
I trap them first. I don't allow them at the area when I leave.
Yeah,
but Stevie will tell you he's had a couple to follow him home.
Well, I had what was believed to be a negative attachment for... Now, I'm going to talk a wee bit about kind of personal. I don't know openly talking about personal stuff, but I don't know whether it was to do with mental health or I don't know at the time, but I was at an event and somebody... No, it wasn't me. I was asking the questions, but they were on another device. And we decided to challenge something that was there. The place we were at was well known for sacrifice rituals, kind of sacrifice area back in the... I think it was the 17 and 1800s, the historian guy had said. No, we actually challenged what we would believe to be something that was demonic or negative. And now, I went to an event not long after this in Kilmarnock. It was the Palace Theatre. And this medium woman kept looking at me as if kind of... You know that way somebody looks at you as if you've got three heads, and I'm like, what the fuck's she looking at?
Every day I get that.
She was looking at me as if I had like three heads. I remember going, I said to her, what's their problem here? Because I'm like, I'll just come in and say, what's your deal? I don't like you, there's something not nice about you. It's not you personally, but there's something behind you that scares the living shit out of me. And I'm like, all right. She said, stay away from me. I'm like, that's fine, aye. So she kind of opened up a wee bit during and actually says, you've been doing something you're not meant to be doing. Now, she didn't know me for Adam, but we did a spirit box session and I was asking questions and it actually gave the name, the location of the house that we were in, and it named all four individuals that was with me at that point. There was 5 of us there and it named every one of them. It also named the location I was going to after that and named who I was going to the location after that way. And what I was told was I had a negative attachment. Now, whether it was or not, because I did go through this quite a bad bit of mental health at that point, which led to medication and stuff. So I don't know whether it was that or I was told it was a negative spirit, and it was a guy called Gary Fields for Liverpool that helped me get rid of it. It took a wee while, but he helped me with that. And ever since then, you get it. It's not as strong as what it was, but every now and again you get a feeling that it's still there. It's a wee reminder as if kind of what I'm... But don't get me wrong, I mean, it was interesting as well, because see when somebody tells me that you've got a negative attachment, I'm the weirdo that got excited. So see when I had the house that was empty, I used to poke it with a stick, spirit box and poke it. That was the way I used to... You know what, I'm not scared. I don't run. Nothing. There's very little in the paranormal will scare me. And I used to poke it with a stick and antagonise it on a regular basis, which was stupid. Because I was told it started affecting my kids. So at that point, that was when I got help to get rid of it. What do you believe that? I know, I don't know, but there's a lot of things tied in. It could have been a negative attachment. There was a lot of things I was told that every now, but could it be a coincidence? I don't know, because like I said, I'm sensitive as a brick. I don't have any abilities other than my devices, but I was getting good responses from what I believe to be this. And I believe Lindsay Thompson is in the chat. She has actually witnessed on an event the same voice, and she's actually witnessed how it can affect me in a kind of negative manner.
Mm-hmm.
So, but again, does it boil down to that's where my kind of, I wanted to challenge that to see whether it was real or whether it was indeed in here. But every now and again, I want to be antagonisation at and it's, I mean, the minute Robbie comes out and says there's something in there that's no nice. I mean, you saw it yourself last week, Robbie, at Ardrossan Castle. There's something in there I don't like. There's no nice, and I was straight. No, let's go.
I know it's not like nice, and I don't like it, but I'll still go on and face it. But just what you were going, oh, that's mine. I'm having that one. So you kind of jumped in before I could go for it.
Yeah, I watched the Ardrossan Castle one. That was last Wednesday, and I was quite fascinated with it. Lisa's saying, I'm glad I'm hearing this as it's answering some questions I've been thinking about. Anybody's got any questions, folks, just pop them in the chat and we'll do our best to put them up.
What I do suggest as well is see if people have got like mental health issues or they've got some kind of learning difficulties, they should not be going out ghost hunting because something could attach to them. Even ghost hunters, if they're pissed off one day, like for instance, sometimes I could be at the stage where I want to go out and throttle somebody. And if I go out on a ghost hunt, I take that energy away. It's just as well as same as somebody with a mental health disability or somebody with a limb difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
Your guard's down. You can't fully protect yourself because of these issues you've got, and you could end up with a severe attachment that could potentially kill you or harm others around about you. So I'm telling anybody out there, if you've got a mental health problem or you've got learning difficulties, do not go ghost hunting because it is dangerous.
Steve, what's the best place you've investigated in Edinburgh? I'm visiting there in a couple of weeks.
Same place as me, innit?
Edinburgh Vaults.
Edinburgh Vaults and Greyfriars Kirk. The tap end of Greyfriars Kirk and the far wall to the... Like, you come in the gate at the east, I believe, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Aye, come in at the
east.
Aye, so to the south, going up the west wall, then the top of the Greyfriars, that's the best sections to investigate, plus the Niddry Street end of the vaults.
You're talking up at the prison?
Well, the prison's actually okay. I mean, I've had good results there, but I had a connection with some of the prisoners because I can speak a wee bit of Gaelic, so I was communicating with them in their own language. But when you go to the centre part of the top section, you get to a crypt that's believed to be owned by somebody called Mackenzie. Now, when I was there, I kind of forgot to ground myself. And I could feel the emotions of everybody that died as a result of this guy. And I'm telling you, if he was still alive, I would have killed him. I was getting severe rage, hatred, and total contempt for him. I just didn't like him at all, and I verbally started abusing him during one of the events. So, like two of my team members, well, it wasn't team members, it was guests because it was a public event I had. They pulled us off away from him. Well, they didn't pull me off, but they pulled me away from him. So I grounded myself. We went back in later that night and I let them take care of the investigation. And through one of their spirit boxes, at the end of the night, somebody said, "Did you get anything to say to Robbie?" And basically, I was told to go away and called a baldy B in a very not polite manner.
See, there's been a couple of questions for you guys. You talk about, Greyfriars and that. We find it the opposite. I mean, we've been at Greyfriars hundreds of times, and we've never had anything. I picked up in a mail one night, very, very, very briefly, just in front of the Mackenzie tomb, and that was it. We've had more negative feeling at Canongate. you know, at the bottom of the Royal Mile, Canongate Cut.
Aye. I know where
We
that
were
is.
back. They'll tell you about it, what happened.
Oh,
And then
I've
I'll cover the
I've
questions.
just refused to go back there. I've never stepped foot since. Because I was sitting in front of what's meant to be Ritzel's grave, and I seen a shadow walking behind me, and then I just get this really heavy feeling to get out. And I don't feel nothing. I'm like yourself, Steve. I'm as psychic as a brick. But that night, I just felt really heavy. You need to leave. Something's going to happen. You need to go. So I got up and left. I left Scott in the place.
It was
Correct me if I'm
not.
not, but see the Canongate, is that not where they did all the public executions back in the day?
No, it's further down.
No, they didn't actually do it in Canada. They done it actually in a square just off where the old court used to be. What you call it was actually no far from where Greyfriars is.
Aye, because you go down to the right, and then there's a panel on the floor that you can see that it was. I'm trying to remember the name of the pub because it's down
The bottom of the Royal Mile. Right to the bottom of the Royal Mile, you get the Guth Cross. It's a circle, a square circle in the middle of the road, right near the roundabout. Hi, Gail. And that's where the scaffolds used to be. That's where they used the maiden. The maiden was the early form of the guillotine.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I'm thinking of.
That's a Guth Cross. It's just a stone circle in the middle of the road, just to show you where it actually sat. And the other executions took place at the toll gate and also up at St Giles as well. Was the site of the scaffold as well.
Well, getting back to Carla's question, I'm actually glad you mentioned that. St Giles Cathedral is good to go and see. Royal Mile, where the executions were, and the Nidri Vaults, I would recommend.
You get some good results up at the top end of the Royal Mile. I remember you saying quite a while ago, up beside like you were just walking about where people were stoning, and you were doing like wee testing or coming through.
People watching there.
Aye.
People watch. You can sit and watch people. It's good.
If you think of the Royal Mile, the amount of history that's seen, with the executions, the plague, war, everything, then the amount of energy that is there is unbelievable. So to me, I mean, as you say, great. Everybody's go to Greyfriars, go to the vaults, but to us, it's just your opinion. You can go anywhere on the Royal Mile, and you're going to pick up something. Mary King's Close, Advocates Close, down at the old market, down near John Knox's house, right up and down the whole mile. So, I would say anywhere in the Royal Mile.
Candlemakers Wines. Candlemakers Wines were a very active bit as well.
That's just outside Greyfriars, isn't it? That's the road goes down.
The other side, as you're heading towards the train station. Down the sideway, see as you're coming off the Royal Mile and you're heading towards the train station, it's a wee street that kind of curves round. Candlemakers Wine, that's quite an active bit as well.
Was that not the one you used for Harry Potter or something?
Vaguely.
It's something to do with Harry Potter.
It was the inspiration for Diagnomic Alley, but they didn't actually film there, obviously. But it was the inspiration because J.K. Rowling wrote the first two books in the Elephant Cafe in Edinburgh.
Not that I'm a Harry Potter fan. Not that I have anything against Harry Potter fans or anything. It's just that just sprung to mind there. You know what I mean?
And she took the names for Greyfriars and pumped them into some of the big characters.
Yeah, there's actually a grave there for Thomas Riddle, who was Lord Voldemort. And you can actually Google his tombstone so you can see exactly where his tomb is.
There's also one, Summit McGonagall or not, and that's where she got the inspiration for Professor McGonagall.
I'm just nodding.
And she's
because there's that many folk involved in it. I'm just nodding, agreeing with you. I mean, as I say.
Also, the college behind Greyfriars was between that and the castle. That was the inspiration for Hogwarts.
George Heriot's school.
That's it.
George Heriot.
Aye. A couple of questions for you guys. I'll pop them up just now once I find them again. We've already answered this one, but Don's asking, are you all spiritual mediums?
Yep, I'm an empath, stroke medium, and Steve's got the abilities of a brick wall.
So no, sorry.
I pick up stuff randomly every now and again. I'm not a medium or anything. I just tend to pick up bits and pieces. Kat's got a question for you. Kat's part of our American team, actually.
I will. For me, I do a protection prayer, and there's 3 different types of prayers depending on people's beliefs. You've got pagan belief, you've got Christian belief, or you've got basically people who would be kind of atheists. So depending on who's there, will depend on what one I do that night. And in some occasions, I'll be people personal. Like I'll take them aside and I'll cast a personal protection over them. If they don't want to do it in public because they don't want to let anybody know what their spiritual beliefs are.
Mm. I don't have any protection. I don't protect myself or ground myself or anything. I just go for it.
Kathy's
sorry?
No, I'm just putting Kathy's coming up, buddy, sorry. She picked up an attachment of an executioner and had a heart attack on the way home.
The furthest I've done in England was Gloucester Prison. I've not been to Oxford.
Furthest I've been is Morecambe Winter Gardens.
Oh, I've just put that
at Greyfriars.
Who's put that up? That
No
must have been
idea.
Tracy. It's either Tracy or no. In fact, it would have been either Tracy or Gemma. I must put that up, and because they came out with me that night.
Where's Kathy's comment there? Have you ever investigated Cuthbert's in Edinburgh? I have farming. Cuthbert's, I'm sure, Kathy, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the one that sits at the corner of Princess Street and Lothian Road, facing the big hotel? If it is, I don't...
For me, the name rings a bell, but I can't remember because I've done that many other years. And when you get to my age, information leaks out quite a lot.
So I'm sure that's the one, but I don't think access is all that great there, at night time. As Laura, she's part of our team. Laura's actually, she picks up on animals.
Animals will get spirits just like humans. Anything that's got a life force will have a spiritual energy.
So she picked up on a few animals. Kathy's saying yes, I think it is. I know the one you're talking about, Kathy. It sits right at the corner of the church as well. It's attached to it.
The name, for me, the name rings a bell, but I can't remember what I've done it or not, because I've done that many through the years.
It sits just at the end of Princess Street Gardens, at the corner of Lothian Road near the Caledonia Hotel. I know the one she's talking about. We've not investigated there. It may be one for the future. Don's asking, have you ever been to Liverpool?
30 odd years ago, the last time I was in Liverpool, and I was drunk most of it, so I didn't investigate.
Do you remember it?
I was meant to go.
Well, I went down there to work, and the company I worked for was opening a new shop out there, so we were asked to get down to help stock it up and be there for the opening ceremony. So, I remember going to work, then going to the pub after my shifts, and I don't remember anything to get back into work the next morning.
I was meant to go to Liverpool investigating once, and I couldn't make it, and I'm actually glad I couldn't, because the guy that was training me at that point, that was the guy that trained me up in the paranormal, hyped up this event, we're going to Liverpool, but didn't tell us what it was. I was meant to go, and I had to pull out at the last minute for unforeseen circumstances, and then the next thing you know, he's live on Facebook looking for the grave of Cilla Black. So he actually went looking for the ghost of Silver Black. And I remember thinking to myself going, thank fuck, I missed that.
All you need to do is go and get her ghost is go to the cavern.
Gail's want to know, my PC's running slow tonight with these comments. Gail, we actually met Gail and her family on holiday. Hi, Gail Doll. I just recognised her name. We met them, we were at July, beginning of July, we were there. Hi, Vaughn. So that's Gail.
Well, for that, you don't play with Ouija boards, you use them like any other piece of equipment. And I actually made my own. And it's actually just sitting there. If you hold on, I'll let Steve talk. I'll pull out a Ouija board so I can show you it.
I've tried the Ouija board several times and I can never get it to work. Which brings me back to what I mentioned earlier about the attachment. The Ouija board and the attachment kind of link in because I got people to play a Ouija board for me while I asked the questions, and that's where I got the attachment. So
you don't play with Ouija boards.
Well,
right.
People fear the Ouija board, but I don't see the difference between a Ouija board and a spirit box. You're making a connection regardless.
There's the one I made. It's actually made from a 200-year-old piece of solid oak. So they are one of the old school tools. They've been around since roughly about between 1870 and 1890 when they were first started being used. Then a company called Mattel thought, oh, hold on, let's make this into a toy, and started mass producing it. And since then, they've owned the rights to the name Ouija board. And there's my planchette, which is actually Horus's eye.
Ouija board is just another. So, Robbie, obviously you know about the Ouija board. What's your opinion? See with Hollywood, see all these films that came out with Ouija boards and all the rest of it. You think that's done more damage to the how people look at the Ouija board?
It's caused more trouble than these films have caused a lot of problems because if you don't open or close a Ouija board properly, especially closing it properly, whatever you bring through will sight and it'll attach itself to you. And 9 times out of 10, those attachments are demonic.
Dawn's asking, I'm glad she asked this because we're going to talk about that anyway. Do you ever try to help a spirit move on?
I do it at least once a week. I mean, you've seen me, I moved 2 people on in that, was it Dun, I can't remember the name of that castle. I can never remember the name of that place. I moved 2 people on. I moved 2 people on in Dunua, and when we were at that power station, and wherever you took me on Thursday, I just remember getting in a car and you drove me somewhere.
We were never there.
So I moved. You seen me move somebody on there as well. So I try and move at least one person in a week if I can help it. If somebody wants to move on, I'll move them on. If they don't want to move on, then they've got a right to be there. But if somebody's like malevolent, which is like evil, I'll force them whether they want to go or no. If it comes to it, I'll destroy them before I let them stay here. So there'll be the option either move on to the other side or basically have your energy destroyed into fucking atoms.
I can vouch for them. I've seen them do it three times. I think it is.
Aye. 3 times you've seen me doing it,
aye. It takes a wee bit out of you. I've noticed that.
It does. It's very draining because I've got to use all my energy to open up a portal so they can cross through it. And it's not just opening the portal up, it's summoning people they know, taking through that portal to guide them to show them the way back through it. And it can take me a couple of days to recover for that.
I can't get anything for a spirit box. Is there a back to it? And there must have been a knack to it. And how do you feel about apps?
Right, I'll let Stephen answer that one because he's a techie guy.
He's a tech guy.
Apps, I'm on the fence with. I can use them as a research tool, but it needs to be alongside another piece of evidence or another device that can back it up. I believe a lot of the apps could be predetermined words. I'm on the fence with that one. But the PSP 7 is my weapon of choice, basically, and that's what I use. And it's usually FM sweep, 200 to 250 reverse I use. Robbie, you've seen the video where we're going on Wednesday, mate. You've seen some of the cats I've managed to get with it.
The voices that came through that day were loud and clear.
And I've actually, what I'll do, Scott, I'll send it to you and you can put it on your page. I've actually got the best piece of evidence I've ever got at Dundonald Castle in Ayrshire through a spirit box. And we asked, it was Suzanne that was there, Caitlin Young and myself, and we asked, what clan are you affiliated to? And we got, as clear as day, Robert the Bruce. I'll send you the link. It's on my YouTube channel. I'll send it to you and you can post it and the guys can listen to it. It's relevant to the area. It's relevant to the castle, and it was amazing. It's the best piece of evidence I've ever captured.
The best part of evidence, like I'm kind of sceptical as well with some apps, but I downloaded one because I've seen other teams use it, and like one of the teams in Wales, it seems to get brilliant results every time with theirs. It's called Necrophonics. So I downloaded it, and Stephen gets some really good voices coming through it on Wednesday night at Ardrossan. I mean, he asked a question. No, it wasn't just that. He asked, was there any kind of, was there anybody important or any warriors that visited this castle? And the name William came through, and he went, William who? Then another voice said Wallace. Now, this app doesn't have actually any words in it. It's got sounds, and if you put this, like the different sounds together, these sounds make up the words. So basically, the spirit can manipulate the device to put all these sounds together to create what words they want to use. And so logically, in my mind, there's no way in hell that app should have said William Wallace, but he managed to get it to come through the box.
Well, you got my name through it as well. We also got Kirsten, who was there. We got her name. We got that they didn't really like me, and then that kind of that's usual. Spirits
don't like you anyway.
Mate, the living don't even like me. Never mind the spirits.
You're all right sometimes.
This year's been kind of a whirlwind for me since March. Because I did go on a well-known podcast and kind of rip a guy to write a new arse on it, and ever since then, the paranormal popularity's kind of skyrocketed a wee bit. So I've started getting a bit more. The living have started liking me a bit more for giving them a wee bit of a voice. So there we go.
Steve is a legend.
He charges a final for autographs.
I just want to say, Gail, I'll get Sarah to mail you about an investigation. I was going to, because I watched the one at Ardrossan Castle. I've been up at Ardrossan Castle a few times. And I watched the one and I heard the William Wallace. You can hear it really, really clear. You know, the words Wallace, William. I like to ask you about that. I caught a basement. I don't know what it was when you've been doing inside.
The cellar.
The cellar. What did you feel in there? Because to me, there was somebody standing, as you were watching it, there was somebody standing, was it a doorway or something? There was somebody kind of standing there, staring at you.
Well, basically, there was, when we got to Stirling, when we got to Ardrossan Castle, I said to him I was going to go there a bit early, just to get a feel of the place. So I was walking up a wee hill and I seen 4 people standing in the castle. I just thought it was like Wayne's having a drink. I walked up and I realised that it was Stephen, Lindsay, and it was like 2 lassies that had just showed up because they were wanting to do a wee tour. So they joined us on the investigation. So Stephen and the 2 lassies went down and the rest of us stood upstairs. Now, I don't know what they seen personally, they can tell you in a wee second, but when Stephen was asking questions, one of the lassies was holding, I don't know, I could only assume it was her phone. and she was shining at a door frame. I could see somebody at the door having a pissing contest with her, staring her out, because she was looking at that direction and he was staring at her direction. And I don't know if it was picked up on camera, I can't remember, but I remember whispering to, like, I think it was Lindsay that was standing beside me. I said to her, there's somebody down there, I can see him. And it's got something to do with devil worshipping. And I'm getting a name Ferguson or Fergus. So I put it out to everybody going to Google and find it. And sure enough, Susan, who knows her way around websites and whatever, she found a story about, what was his name, Fergus Barlin something.
Barclay.
Fergus Barclay was a devil worshipper, and it was something about he summoned the devil to protect his castle, and he left. It was a devil's hoof or something.
Mm-hmm.
There was a devil's hoof somewhere in one of the bricks. But...
Aye, so I had no idea, because it's been years since I've been to that castle, so I don't know its history. I mean, I didn't even know it was a fucking graveyard until I walked past it.
I didn't see we were going to a graveyard. I was sitting watching thinking, what the hell's a graveyard? Because, you know, I've been up there quite a few times and I've never ever noticed a graveyard up there.
Well, basically, when you go up when you walk up the hill towards when you go up the main path, there's like a wee banister to your left hand side as you're walking up. Right at the top of the banister, out the corner of my eye, I seen what looked like benches, so I looked through. But my sight isn't that really good in the day, because I'm like a gremlin, I don't like bright light. So something was push yourself laughing. Something was drawn me to that direction. To me it looked like park benches. So I started walking to it, and the closer I got to it, the more I realised it wasn't benches, it was raised tombstones on wee plinths. Where what they would do is they would bury somebody, put 4 pillars like each corner, then put the tombstone on top of it. And those were scattered around the, like that wee bit. Then just further down there was a sunken part, and there was bricks going on it, so I can only assume that was a chapel. And right at the edge of the chapel inside there was a tomb, and that's where we figured out that's where Fergus was buried.
Right.
So I get here the next day and I started Googling all this information, and sure enough, that graveyard is connected to the castle. It's a family plot. So like all his family are buried there, and he was buried in the chapel. And they actually used the chapel for devil worshipping as well.
I've still been doing that at home, mate. I didn't feel anything down there.
Nothing.
There was 2 voices come through the spirit box, but it was very hard to make out. And then my EVP session was nothing. I believe the two girls maybe kind of felt something, but to me, you could smell like a burning smell, but it was other than that, there was nothing.
Can you put that last comment back up?
Because we were meant to be live, but it was postponed to this Wednesday. Otherwise, I was going to jump down and join you, but I was just sitting watching it, and I just had this feeling that somebody was stoning in that door. What's the saying?
There was definitely somebody there. Can you put that last comment up? Because somebody put something up about their daughter. My little girl has a spirit friend for years. All right, Alison, she's already told me about that. So I was going to give her a wee contact later on about ghosty stuff as well, because she thinks she's got an ability, and by the sounds of it, it's a big like empath. Mm-hmm. So I was going to give her some wee tips to actually start training herself, because I prefer training people face to face, but because of her distance, she's too far away to do it.
It's no easy to do. Gail's got a question about getting marked, and it's just this will take me back to Greyfriars, obviously.
Right.
Harmed or marked by a bad spirit or a demon.
Well, you've seen the photos, like I've showed you to me, haven't you? The one where I was, where was I? Bradford. I was in an abandoned mill with another, like one of my other teams, party. So We're doing about the basement, and I could sense something down there. It was a nasty piece of work. It was human at one time. Nothing demonic about it, but it was nasty. I didn't, like, the other team members knew wee bits about the place, but I didn't. So we're walking about, and one of the guys that was on the cameras saying, there's something behind me. So I kind of looked through and I seen a shadow. So, like Stephen, I started intimidating it, working, like, egging it on, but it started backing off. So me and the guy followed it around a corner, then it disappeared into a room. We came back, and I could feel, like, heat running about me. So I put my horn out just like that to try and feel. Then, there was nothing there to cause this to happen logically. So I turned my horn round, and, like, John said, "What's that in your horn?" And it was there was blood in my horn in the shape of a cross. And just before anybody got to say the word cross, the word came through the ovulus. Like, the word cross came through, and it was wet blood. When I wiped it away, there was no cut in my horn, no scratches to justify why that was there. So I had the feeling it was something trying to protect us because it was the shape of a cross. So a couple of days later, I put some feelers out to people I know around the world, and they all said the same as me. Something down there was trying to protect you. Then it wasn't until a couple of days later, we actually, after doing some digging, where there was a woman murdered and her body was dumped in that location, and the guy who done it was a police officer, and somebody tipped him off about he was ready to be arrested because there was other crimes that had his, like, connection to it, and he basically went back to the same location and killed himself. So we believe it was him that was down in that basement. Then other times I've got a tattoo on my shoulder with a crucifix on it, and a few times I've had 3 scratch marks going right across the crucifix. 3 scratch marks is like a mock of the Trinity.
Aye, Father, Son, Holy Ghost, Holy Spirit, brother.
It's always on the same part. I get the same, like, I get different size and lengths of depths of scratch marks.
What about you, Steve? You ever been marked or scratched or?
That was my, see, when I was kind of telling you earlier on what I got into the paranormal, one of my first ever paranormal experiences was in Edinburgh Vaults, and it was just on a standard tour. I mean, I was what days would I have been, 18 or 19? Yeah, I think you've been clever, Jack the lad. It's, I have no fear, I'll go in first. Straight away in. And I remember sitting there going, I could smell like a strong sense of whiskey. And I get dead light-headed, and it was as if someone was going like that. And I actually had a mark on my neck, as if it was like a handprint. And it was the tour guide kind of took pictures and stuff at the time, and it was quite kind of, it was an eye opener, and that was at that point I kind of went oof. And then it was like years after that before I got back into like the kind of paranormal side of things, but it was like definitely it was like, if it was like fingers that had kind of went here. It was strange. That's the only marking I've ever had.
Lindsay's saying this will be, but start again. This will be about Drossing Castle. I'd feeling something really bad. That bit in the dungeon, like really angry and stuff, face clenching all the time.
Well, she was getting the same feelings as I was getting. And it was coming for, I can assume it was that guy Fergus.
See, Laura felt that the other night when we were at that location. And she felt it within I think it was doing Alloway. She felt kind of strangled, sore neck and what have you. She's felt that a couple of times. Kathy's saying you saw daughter's bite mark as she got in Greyfriars. That was impressive.
I wouldn't say that's impressive. I'd say that was fucking scary. And especially when it depends what age the child is. I wouldn't let anybody go under the age of 16 to these kind of places.
No.
And because, like, 16, I regard 16-year-olds as adults. You can vote, get married, go out and fight for your country, work, pay tax. So at 16-year-old, like, you're an adult, so then you can go out to the investigations. But you still need to be very wary, because But you don't know what you're doing, it can be dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Do you think, again, you're back to Hollywood? I mean, I know in Hollywood you get, they show you horror films, Ouija boards, demons and all the rest of it, but then do you say it can influence a lot of young people here who think, you know, they've watched a film on a Friday night, they've had a couple of beers, they say, right, let's grab a torch and go ghost hunting.
It's no different to watching like Ghost Adventures or Paranormal Portal or what was that one you said? Most Haunted. You've got a lot of plums that watch them and go, oh, that looks fun, let's go and do it. Then they get and do it, not having a clue what they're doing. Then they're having all sorts of trouble for themselves.
So you can always tell when somebody's been watching a film or a TV show when you go on an investigation with them. Because I went to one, and I always remember this woman she was honest, she was fucking hilarious. She's like, I am not fear. So, right, she goes, I want to try a solo. I'm like, that's fine, go solo. There's your torch, there's your device. And she just stood looking as if, she goes, can you not come with me? And I goes, right, okay. So reluctantly agreed. So we're down this long corridor, and she got a fright and run. And I'm like, this is the person that's not scared. And then I remembered going, shit, she's getting my torch. Because all you could see was this wee light disappearing down the end of the corridor. And I'm like, ah. So to me, she'd watched far too many paranormal TV shows and thought she knew what she was doing. And
I think that's the problem with social media now. There's a lot of groups out there that claim to be paranormal investigators.
And they're entertainers.
Basically, they've watched a TV programme and tried to just copy it. They've not got a clue what they're doing. And Stephen will tell you, I know, well, I've got a funny feeling I know who one of them is. He's got the same type of hairdo as me.
The three is. I'm not saying that because I just got myself into trouble. Yeah, well, give me a row.
That's the thing, is usually a lot of people watch these programmes and then bang, they go and they think, you know, well, this is what they've done in that programme, so this is how it's done, and this is what we're going to do, and it all goes boobs up, basically.
You know. And it's not just that, they're causing problems for other people as well, because other people are watching them, then copying them who are doing it wrong and thinking that's the right way of doing it.
Aye, but it's really not.
I mean, it might look fun to watch, but it's a very dangerous business to be in. I mean, one slip up and you could either possess yourself, cause yourself some damage, or you could take it in and cause damage to other people around about you. I mean, look at that night, like on Thursday. I spent half my time trying to protect one of the lasses that was with us because there was something after her. And that flare.
I was determined to get it.
It was determined to attach yourself to it, and it even made itself known during what was it, the dowsing rod experiment we done. I actually made itself known and said it was one her and what it was one to do to her. And I shut that experiment down straight away. But it took me all my energy. I mean, if I had any many of my team members with, one of them would have got thrown under a bus because I wouldn't been able to protect both of them.
Kerry's comment about the newbie teams. Can we go back to that?
Aye, 2 seconds. Get it back up.
Totally agree with that sentiment. See if somebody comes and tells me, listen, I'm new to this. Can you give me advice? Can you help me? Gladly. But see when somebody, it's, oh, I know what I'm doing. I'm desperate to do this. Can I do this? Can I do this? And you go, that's when I can draw the line. See if somebody's honest and tells me, look, I'm new to this. Can you help me? Gladly. But there's too many ego strokers and there's too many arrogant, cocky bastards in this field at this minute in time that the guy you alluded to, Robbie, has been one of them. They watch these live feeds and it's fucking embarrassing because they're entertainment channels and they're drama channels and they thrive on bullshit, basically. So see if somebody's new and they need help. I would help anybody any day of the week.
But look at the young lasses that basically showed up. I mean, they said they weren't even meant to be there that night. They were going to go either the Tuesday or the Thursday. And like you got there before me, so as I said, I thought it was like just 4 wins, like with a bottle of Bucky round about a castle. during a nice night. And when I got up, I realised, like, I seen his hat straight away, so I knew it was him. And I was like, who's he brought with him? I mean, I thought he'd brought 2 stragglers with him, but the stragglers seemed to have been there just at the same time as him. So we basically explained to them what we were doing. And with these 2 lasses' days, they just go about different places. They're no ghost hunters, but they just go going about spooky places to see if they can feel anything. So I said to him, do you want to join us? I was like, do you want to join us on a live feed and take part in it, and we'll get you involved in the experiments? One of them phoned her husband and said, I'm not coming home to midnight, I'm going on a ghost hunt. And he's like, aye, sure you are. He didn't believe her, so he had to basically tell him, aye, watch this channel and you'll see them on it.
Yes, I mean, I know a few people who do that, they're not part of any team. They'll go out with a pal, they'll go out, we'll go to the night, we'll take a wee run to Dunur Castle. There's not any,
they're not going to ghost hunt, they're just going out to look at the castle and see if they can feel anything.
Aye, they're just out for a wander.
Aye, so we invited them into the group, and for that night only, they became paranormal investigators, and that's what I do as well. Like I
they were nice.
Aye, they were good laughs. They were up for it. Because I got them to do, like, they were up for doing any experiments. They had a bigger pair of balls than me my first night of doing that anyway. What I do is, like, I'll only have public events. Like, I've got one coming up in October. I've got tickets left for that one, where people who have never done it before will come out, spend 6 hours with us in a location, and for that night they get to learn how to become paranormal investigators, and they get to do investigations. I'll assist them. Then what I'll do is, before they realise what's happening, I've stood back and they're doing it themselves because they've got that much into it.
You want to tell everybody who's watching about your events?
Yeah, well, my next event is going to be in Stirling Old Town Jail on the 23rd of October. It's £45 a ticket, so we get there for 8:30 at night. We enter at 8:30, we start about 9, and we finish up at 3 o'clock the next morning. And because it's a long event, I'll supply food and soft drinks for everybody, so we can have a wee break halfway through and talk about what they've experienced for that first half. So the guests will get to use, they'll get to try using, like, the Ouija board with me. They'll get to use, like, spirit boxes. They'll see the SLS camera working. They'll get to use trimeters. They'll get to use multimeters. They'll get to use other sensors I've got as well, such as like the cat balls, the dowsing rods. We'll do old school experiments like human pendulums with them. Because I always like to start off with the old school stuff, especially with people that are new to the game and kind of skeptic. Because if they've got something and it's working in front of them, they can't explain it. When I took a group to Edinburgh Vaults, and this woman, basically, she went because her husband was, like, into it. So I got her to do the experiment. The experiment was meant to last 10 minutes. Half an hour later, I was like, I tell her, look, can we stop? Because other people are wanting to try other things. She was getting that into it, she wasn't wanting to stop. So it's a good learning experience for people as well, that are new to the game. They can come out. I'll show them how to do it in a safe and secure environment. And like, I've got my team to assist us as well. So as I said, the next available event is in Stirling. If anybody wants to go to it, just email hauntedscotland@outlook.com. Send us a wee email and I'll give you the details on how to get tickets.
Excellent. I'll start again. Don's got a question for you, and I'm going to put up a comment for Kelly. It's a big comment, so you might banish, but the question.
I noticed Lindsay put up a comment, and all you can get back to that one as well.
Right, 2 seconds. Lindsay, the vicious circle.
It turns into a vicious circle if you don't. Aye, precisely. You end up affecting yourself, affecting other about you, then they become affected, then they end up affecting people around about them. It's like a virus.
You lose control very quick and you can't get it back.
Aye. What do you think of the Warrens? To be honest with you, I have a lot of respect for the Warrens because it was their documents that helped me train myself, because when I was younger, I had nobody around about me. You didn't have these programmes on TV that you've got nowadays. You didn't even have Most Wanted. There was no like Facebooks, there was no multimedia channels. So I learned everything I know because of Ed and Lorraine Warren, and I have become really friendly with their grandson. What's his name? My brain's Chris McKinnell. I became good friends with him, and I also followed their stepson. Their son-in-law, Tony. I've spoke to him a couple of times, and they're really good people. And Chris has actually gave us some advice for a couple of private cases I've done, what I've not been sure about.
Well, what do you think of the Warrens? What's your thoughts?
See, out of respect for Robbie and the way he likes them, I'm going to refrain from commenting because I'm the polar opposite.
He's the total opposite. But as for the movies, basically, I think Ed Warren would be spinning in his grave with these movies because they're not accurately correct.
I'm going to make a comment here. I don't want him to judge this. Ed Warren would be spinning in his grave if he saw his grandson mouthing off about exercising an 8-year-old in Costa Rica. To me, I'm going to refrain from commenting any further because it would. I would open my mouth out a molehill here because I don't have any respect for them at all. So, but out of respect for Robbie, I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
But he's already told me what he thinks about them. But as I said, everybody's got a right to their own opinions. To me, I wouldn't be where I'm on the day without their reading up their cases. Basically, they were my absentee teachers, if you want to put it that way. It was because of them I've got the knowledge I've got.
You've got to look at the Enfield case, mate. Their case file for that's quite big, but they were only there for fucking 5 minutes. So to me, the words I'm going to use for them are paranormal parasites, but I'm going to leave it at that.
But it's like the movies, they are very loosely based on true stories, and I say loosely as like a wide berth.
Mm-hmm. Well,
to me, they were a family where if you liked them and you were positive about them, I mean, I found this out because I actually put a personal comment on the thing about the 8-year-old getting exercised. Now, the guy actually tagged me in a post to answer me back, and then before I could read it, it was deleted. It was gone. So I messaged him about it. Oh no, there wasn't any comment. I'm like, there was because I saw a screenshot of what you said. So to me, it's so sensationalism, and they wanted to be in the public eye, which to me, I just don't see. If I could turn around and say I had a haunted orange, they would come and investigate it. That was any claim to fame that these guys latched onto, and that's. I mean, I know Kelly's agreeing with me, but I mean, you've just got to look at recent events. Oh, I'm exercising an 8-year-old child in Costa Rica. Way go you, fucking idiot! You shouldn't have posted that. You shouldn't have put that in the public eye. But that's me.
It's like I maybe I'll do one live a week, but I'm out a couple of times, maybe 2 or 3 times a week doing different events, but I won't publicise. For instance, I'm going to tomorrow somewhere to help somebody, so that won't be on Facebook. It won't get logged on my website. There'll be no reports written up about it. It's just between me and that, the people.
Aye,
and most of my work is unpublicised. I mean, I wouldn't be on Facebook today if it wasn't for my son fucking pestering me to wear me down. And he's one of the ones who doesn't take no for an answer, so you've got to eventually get into him. So that's the only reason I'm on Facebook now, doing what I'm doing on Facebook.
So we used to put a lot on Facebook, but the past few weeks we've kind of cut it down now, and we're just putting up, we're still going to be putting up stuff on Facebook and stories and what have you, but we've kind of cut it down. But Kelly's made a comment. Now, when I put this up, yous might disappear, because it's quite a big comment. All right, so I'm not cutting yous out or anything. It's just that it's quite a big comedy. All right, Steve disappeared.
I can't even keep out this one. Fuck's sake, Kelly.
Right, my eyes are going wonky. I don't know.
He pushed the beliefs on others. I don't have any belief. I certainly don't believe I can be possessed. I've been doing 17 years of my own personal research. Mary Boyle is my person. And I meet folk who tell me I need to hold hands, I need to be protected. No, I don't. I'm a paranormal researcher. My job is to have these experiences and prove the existence of my medium friends, move everything on. There would be any.
Well, as I say to a lot of people, your own personal belief is the strongest tool you've got, because that's what's going to protect you at the end of the day. It's your belief that basically gives you the strength to do what you're doing. So it doesn't matter what belief you've got. I mean, Kelly's, I've been watching her for I've been ghosting her for quite a while, watching her in the background, no commenting, just watching what she's doing and saying. And she's probably got a bigger pair of balls than me and Steve put together.
Robbie's one of my bosses, but Kelly's my other one.
I'm not your boss. I'm just there to make sure you don't do anything stupid. I mean, I do a heat count and I make sure it's the same amount of heats that come back at the end of the night.
It's quite a funny story how I met Kelly and CG actually, and the Dead Ends guys. I was following one of the UK's biggest kind of paranormal teams. They call themselves a team, right? But I was following both.
Oh, that's you being you're owned.
So there was a coalition at the start of the year to combat online trolling in their entertainment companies, and I saw one of the guys' point of view, and I got on all right with the guy. I spoke to him. Now, how I actually met the Dead Ends guys, I actually went on Dead Ends to defend Ghost of Britain, and I became friendly with Kelly and CJ, and they asked me to mod for Dead Ends for them. Dead Ends is a great podcast, by the way. If there's any paranormal bullshit, these guys, I mean, proper research into everything before.
I've sent them something to look into.
And me and Kelly have became like that. Me and CJ have became close friends, and Liz and Shell that are involved with it as well. We're all wee close in that team, and you're right enough. Kelly's got a bigger set of boys than me and Robbie put together. And I don't think I've spoke to her personally, but I've been watching her for the background because I'm kind of dubious. I like to know about people before I make myself known to them. They actually had a guy on their podcast, and it was being an absolute dick. And I was in the background and streamers, and I'm like, fucking let me on. And you know, the way the guy spoke to her, and it's like, see, by that point I didn't have to say anything to him because she had ripped him a new arse herself. And it was so funny. I was sitting backstage buckled.
She can be scary sometimes on a podcast.
She can hold her own, Kelly.
Kelly's not to be messed with, basically, then.
No. That's why if you've been out on a night out there and there was trouble to be had, you wouldn't need to do anything. She would have the whole place, like everybody in the flare, before you could have a chance to take your fucking gloves off.
Oh, yeah. I love Kelly a bit. She's fucking awesome. She's awesome.
Do you do, man? Well, me and Steve go once a week. He's just joined my team a month ago or something like that. 4 weeks. Well, it was a couple of weeks before that. You joined maybe a wee bit before that, but this will be our fourth investigation together, I think.
Third?
Aye. No, because we had a Drawson.
Fourth. Loudon Kirk, an hour, and then a Drawson. Aye, four.
So this one will be our fourth one together.
And we've been out with twice. Twice.
Once with me, and tomorrow night will be the second time. We're returning to a
secret location. Aye, but it's a place I've told both of you not to go back to, but you are not going to listen to me.
I can't tell you not to go back there because I've never been, so I'm going to go.
I've been told a couple of times not to get back there, and this will be my 6th time going, I think.
Well, there's a difference between bravery and stupidity. I'll go to places, I'll go anywhere once, but there's some places I won't go twice, and that place is one of the places I won't go twice.
There's a fine line between bravery and stupidity, and it's called Steve.
No, you crossed that line years ago.
It's not good. We're fine the other night. You're still above ground. That's a bonus. You know what I mean? That's the main thing. You're still above ground. To say this, I've been 5 times or something. And, one time I nearly took the big dive.
What's that? Robbie, you can message me anytime. I'll tell you what I think. No problem. No problem. Here, I need backup.
I want in.
If I go somewhere, Kelly's the kind of person I want out with because it saves me having to get into a fight. She can do it for me.
We're actually, the place we're going on Wednesday, I took a group, Kelly was part of a group I took to recently. We're going to Lennox Castle in Glasgow. It was a former hospital / asylum. And I remember the first time I went. I mean, I've been 3 or 4 times, and you laughed earlier when I said this, Robbie, but see my tagline for this place, and it's as a pun, but this place is fucking insane. That is so. Even the look of it, see when you're walking into it and you just see the building, you're like that. Wow. See, once you're inside and you actually realise it's like, I mean, the first time I went was pitch black. You could not see 1 metre in front of you. We were standing in the courtyard and you could actually hear people running on about you in a circle, laughing.
The last time I was there,
there was only 5 of us there. It was, as much as paranormal encounters go, it was probably the only time I've actually felt slightly uneasy. But I still ran into where the noises were coming from, much to the disgust of the team that was with me. But it's going to be some location. It's even during the day, it's quite creepy. So I mean, it is going to be really good.
It's going to be a good night. There's going to be lots of good evidence collected. The last time I was there was probably the early 90s, I think. Maybe late 80s, can't remember. And the feeling I got there was just, you could tell people there were absolutely terrified, and other people there were angry because they didn't want to, like, they were put there for reasons they shouldn't have been put there for. And they're making it clear. And they're basically, when you go in, you don't need any tech, you can heal them without tech.
So that's
the tech. My wee swinging brick doesn't it?
That's where we're going tomorrow night, Steve. The first time I went, it was during the day, and somebody showed me how to get there. Second time I went, it was at night time, and it's surrounded by woods, and when I went, I thought I was walking towards it, but I was actually veering off to the right, and I couldn't find it. But then I decided to go left, and it just kind of loomed out the darkness.
You told me that.
And it does look really kind of, it's like something out of a horror film. This thing just appeared.
It's like the opening sequence of a dodgy movie. It's like one of the places you're thinking to yourself, you're shouting at the people that's gone to it, don't go there, you're not coming out alive.
It depends what the dodgy movie is. If it's a porno, it could just be the porno music in the way in like this.
But no, I've seen loads of them. There's nothing dodgy about these scenes. But it's not just the building that's active, it's the surrounding area. And because remember what I told you, I was like that to you, where your car was parked, I'm going to shine your torch up that road. I could physically see footprints appear on the road, walking up the way towards the main road. It's like, see, for instance, if you're walking on like a wet, like if you've got wet shoes and you walk on something and it leaves like a footprint, I could physically see the footprints walking, going up the road. When I asked him to shine his torch up, there was like somebody walking away from us.
I'm excited about this, but I mean, it's got a lot to live up to for what I hear for the other night. So,
excuse my French, but the place is fucked up.
Yes.
There's something in there. There's something in there that shouldn't be there, and I don't know what it is. I know all I can tell you is it isn't human, or it was never human to start with.
I'm just gonna cut the line here, and I'm just gonna say, fuck's sake, Robbie, you're actually giving me a semi sitting here.
Well, I can tell you this: whatever it isn't actually connected to the building. It's connected to the land about the building. It's been brought there. Somebody's physically brought it there before that building was built, and it's been hanging around ever since.
I've investigated it 4 times. The first time I went was just a walkabout. We've done 4 investigations there, and we've heard things that we shouldn't have heard. You know, there's birds nesting in the place. You know, but what I heard wasn't birds.
We get people walking up staircases. We could actually physically hear people walking up the stairs, and it's staircases that don't exist anymore. That's what makes it even worse, because it's like there's a stairwell where the stairs have collapsed, and you can see parts of where metal steps were put, and you can actually hear people walking up a metal staircase.
I've heard. We done a live one night, me and this other lassie, and the two of us heard the same thing at the same time. 3 people in the chat heard this as well, and then we took another team about a week or 2 later, and as soon as we started the investigation, one of the team turned around and says, "Did you hear that?" And I said, "Well, what did you hear?" And she told me the exact same thing that the other 5 people had heard. There's been shadows seen, you know, there's been all sorts picked up in there. If the REM pods go off, cat balls go off, you know, put it this way, it doesn't disappoint.
Well, see the next time your team's gone somewhere, we'll tag along as your guests and we'll watch you investigate, because I've still to see how you do like a start to finish investigation. You've watched me in action, I've not seen you in action yet.
That's fine. We've got 3 or 4 locations, which I'll talk to you after live, written down. But Kathy was asking if we're going to go live. We probably will go live. Just the signal on there, Kathy, sometimes is a bit dodgy. Up the top floor, it's fine. Towards the middle floor, it kind of just disappears, and then down the bottom.
The signal downstairs was a bit dodgy because it cut off. I noticed that. Just at the stairwell at the main entrance. The signal dodgy down there.
It does kind of cut out. But I'll talk to you off live about the other places.
Because I would like to learn how you do things, because everybody does it different. There's no 2 investigators that work the same way, or no 2 teams that work the same way. And as I told you at the start of this programme, I'm always on a learning curve. I'm always desperate to learn everything I can about paranormal, and the only way is to watch other people doing it.
Mm-hmm. It's a learning curve. Do you know what I mean? You never, as we said at the start of the live, you're never an expert. You know, there's no such thing as an expert.
No. I've never claimed to be an expert, and I've never claimed to know everything. I mean, what I know, I've learned through the years, and I'm still learning to this day.
Well, and we'll keep on learning. But I'm going to wind it up there, the new guys, if that's all right with you. So, but I'll hang on to these for a couple of seconds after we come off the live. So thanks everybody for coming along tonight. We're back live again on Tuesday night, but Steve and me will try to go live tomorrow night from where we are. And mind and look up Haunted Scotland's page for the details of their events, etc.
Haunted Scotland, we are not alone.
I've also got a wee side page called Paranormal and Urbex Ayrshire.
Right, say that again so everybody can hear.
Paranormal and Urbex Ayrshire. That's my own page I've been working on for a few years. It's not really that great, but it's got a wee. It's got any time I go live, you've got the same kind of 20 consistent people that kind of jump in, so they're good people.
And if anybody wants to come to Stirling in October, email hauntedscotland@outlook.com and I'll send you the details about the event.
And just keep an eye on the pages for us. Hopefully we'll go live tomorrow night, but we'll be back live here on Tuesday night, 9 o'clock. So thanks for coming in, everybody. Gail, I'll get Sarah to mail you all about that, and we'll see you all very, very soon. So
Can I make a wee side comment before you go off? I'll upset anybody in my comments over the Warrens.
Everybody's got a right to their own opinion. I mean, I don't agree with what you say, but I'll respect what you've got the right to say it.
That's
it. There is a few people that get pissed off when you badmouth them. So if anybody's been felt offended by my comments, I will apologise for offending you. But that's my kind of take on it.
I mean, to me, they're the only reason I'm here today. So I will end my career and my vocation. So it doesn't matter. I can't pay them back for what they've done for me because I've learnt so much from them.
And
you can kick my ass later, in my opinion.
Sorry, I won't tell you where one of the dodgy holes are you're going to tomorrow night. I'll let you find out for yourself the quick way.
Does that mean I don't tell them either?
You don't tell them either. Let them find out for yourself. You'll know when you find one because all you'll hear is then you're going, wee!
What was that bang on the live? It was Steve filled in the lift shaft.
It's me that's going to carry him out, but I'm going to carry him out.
No, just leave him there, it's all right.
Just leave it.
Somebody will eventually find him.
Aye, good idea. Good idea. So thanks for coming in, everybody. We hope you enjoyed tonight's live with Haunted Scotland. We're not alone. And we'll see you all very, very soon. So take care for now.
Bye.